Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into the process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another edition of the process. As Alabama is coming off a huge recruiting weekend as they defeated the Tennessee Volunteers inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, inside a great atmosphere in Bryant-Denny Stadium, as Alabama was able to use the new LED lights inside Bryant-Denny. So it was a great atmosphere for some football, great atmosphere for Alabama's visiting commits and targets. So I think it was just a great time for everyone involved. And one of Alabama's two official visitors during the weekend was Alabama's verbal commits William Anderson, a four-star defensive end out of Dutchtown High School in Hampton, Georgia, and Jackson Bratton, a four-star linebacker out of Muscle Shoals High School in Shoals, Alabama. After their official visits, Bratton took to Twitter to announce that he is shutting his recruitment down 100%. He will no longer take any official visits or any unofficial visits to any other schools besides Alabama, so he's solely locked in on the Tide. Alabama also hosted a large number of unofficial visitors. One of their unofficial visitors was one of the top targets in the 2020 recruiting class and five-star running back Zachary Evans out of North Shore High School in Houston, Texas. Evans was on the campus of the University of Alabama for Alabama's matchup against the Tennessee Volunteers, as well as the following day. So he was in Tuscaloosa for 2 days. So I think it's pretty good for Alabama to get him on campus for 2 days. Great. I think that's going to be huge for Alabama moving forward as far as them recruiting another running back in the 2020 recruiting class. Alabama also extended a couple offers. One of those offers went to another running back in the 2020 recruiting class, and Jahmyr Gibbs, a Georgia Tech commit. I think it's pretty interesting the fact that Alabama offered Gibbs and also hosted Evans. I think this particular move shows that Alabama has no problem adding on another running back in the 2020 recruiting class to go along with their current running back commits and four-star running backs Kyle Edwards and Rodell Williams. So that is definitely something to look out for as far as the running back position is concerned with the Tide in the 2020 recruiting class. Alabama also offered the #1 long snapper in the 2021 recruiting class, and Jonathan Rocco Underwood. Underwood, as I said, is the #1 long snapper in the class. You guys can check out our article with Underwood on TouchdownAlabama.com as he discussed what went into his first Division I football offer, which comes from Alabama. An interesting thing about Underwood is the fact that he graduates when Alabama is losing their current long snapper, Thomas Fletcher. So it should be good timing if Alabama was able to pull in Underwood at some point. So that is something to look out for as well. Similar to the way I started my last couple of shows on Monday, I wanted to break down some of the top plays Alabama commits did over the weekend. So I'm going to start with the top three plays that I feel are the top plays from this past Friday. So with that being said, let's get the process started. Now I'm going to break down some of the top plays from Alabama's commits from this past weekend. And the first play comes from Alabama's four-star defensive back commit Malachi Moore out of here at Trussville High School in Trussville, Alabama. Moore lines up at the safety position on this play. You see the wide receiver is expecting the ball. He comes down, lower the boom on the wide receiver and makes a clean hit. I think it's very important to point out the fact that Moore did make a clean hit on this play with the way college football and the world of football is changing with safety concerns. So I think it's important to point out that Moore did make a clean hit on that particular play. It was not a defenseless receiver, a very nice hit. This was one of Moore's 23 total tackles in the game. He finished the game with a career high of 23 tackles as well as pulling in an interception. So it's a huge game for the Alabama commit as well as a huge game for the Hugh Trussville Huskies as they were able to pull out the win. The next play comes from Alabama's four-star wide receiver commit Kershawn Holden out of California. The 6'3" wide receiver climbs the ladder and jumps over two defensive backs to pull in the touchdown. I think this shows that Holden is a defensive mismatch in most occasions with this 6'3" frame. I think Alabama is going to use him to stretch the field at the next level, and he showed you a glimpse of what he can do on that particular play. the last play comes from Alabama's 4-star, the newest commit, and Alabama's 4-star defensive tackle commit, Jamil Burroughs. Burroughs rushes from the edge on this particular play, blasts through the offensive line, and makes a huge sack on Tennessee commit Harrison Bailey. He also forces the fumble. Unfortunately, he was unable to get to the fumble, but he definitely tried to get to it. I think this shows what I have been saying about Burroughs on many occasions, is the fact that he likes to use his hands. He's very good with his hands techniques on this. Very good with his hand technique on this particular play. Blast through the line. The deep offensive line cannot contain him. He made a huge hit on Harrison Bailey. It was just one of the big time plays that the Alabama commit made throughout the night, as he was able to help McEachern High School pull out a big win over Marietta High School. Alabama football recruiting doesn't stop, so my travels also do not stop, as I was able to travel to Marietta, Georgia over the weekend to check out the game between the McEachern Indians and the Marietta Blue Devils, as Alabama commits Jamil Burroughs and Javon Baker lined up for McEachern, and five-star athlete Rick Gilbert lined up for the Marietta Blue Devils. So I'm going to break down some of the things I saw from those particular guys right now. The first guy I want to talk about is Alabama's 4-star wide receiver commit, Javon Baker. Baker was used in a lot of ways in this particular game. McEachern lined him up at wide receiver at times, using him to come in motion and get the ball via the jet sweep. He also lined up at running back at times to basically just give him the ball. So they definitely want to put the ball in his hands in any way that they can. He also showed that he's a very good athlete, as McEachern also lined him up at the safety position in obvious pass situation. When it's 3rd and long, he was out there trying to be great defensive back for McEachern. So I definitely think that Baker is a guy who could play multiple positions, but his toughness is going to make him a big time wide receiver at the next level, in my opinion. I like the way that he was very tenacious when he was blocking on Friday night. Those were some of the things that really stood out to me about Baker. I also want to talk about Alabama's 4-star defensive tackle commit, Jamil Burroughs. When I got a chance to see Burroughs in action, I knew coming in that he was very good with his hands. But I think I kind of underestimated, and I think a lot of people also underestimated his speed off the ball. He really showed me that he had some great speed off the ball in that particular game. He was able to make some big time plays along with McEachern's entire defensive line. He was able to get constant pressure on Marietta's quarterback and Tennessee commit Harrison Bailey throughout the game, as he was able to come up with 2 sacks and also that forced fumble that I showed you guys. So Burroughs is definitely a huge gift for Alabama. I think he's ready to play with his size at 6'2", 330 pounds. So I was really impressed with Burroughs from last Friday night. The last guy I got a chance to see is Alabama's 5-star athlete target, Rick Gilbert out of Marietta High School. Gilbert is a guy who's a 5-star, as I said. He could easily play wide receiver, as I said in the past. He can play wide receiver, tight end at the next level. And from what I saw Friday, he can easily play defensive end as well, based off his great size. This kid is a monster. And when you look at him, he looks like he's ready to play right now. He can easily play at the next level. And with this size, he could possibly stand out once he gets to the next level. Once you just look at his pure size, his pure athleticism. And another thing that really stood out to me about Gilbert is the fact that Marietta High School didn't really line him up at the tight end position. He was lined out wide for most of the game, showing that he is definitely could be considered a wide receiver. And I think Alabama really wants him. But once I got a chance to see Gilbert in action, I saw that he's very explosive with the ball in his hand. He can make moves. He's very difficult to take down with the size. He's definitely going to be a big-time player at the next level, despite what other school he goes to. Alabama is still pushing for him, and I think Alabama is still in a rush. But Gilbert is looking at his particular top schools and seeing which particular school is going to get him the ball in his hand and give him a chance to play early. So that's what he's looking at the moment. He's looking at each school and seeing how they're using their tight ends at the moment before he makes a decision. So I definitely think that Gilbert is a big-time player in the 2020 recruiting class. Based off what I've seen from him, this guy is definitely one of the top talents in the 2020 recruiting class. Thanks to everyone for watching the process. I want to get everyone more involved with the process as we continue to move forward. So with that in mind, we're unrolling a new feature. You guys are now going to be able to call into the process at 205-440-3968. Again, that's 205 440-3968. Call, leave your voicemail. I will answer your particular question on the process, and we will hear your voicemail and your particular question right here on the process. The person with the top question from each week will receive a Bama Fever gift card. Bama Fever sells the top Alabama athletic apparel and the top Alabama athletic gear. So be sure to call in and leave your recruiting question at 205-440-3968. Thank you guys so much for watching the process. As always, subscribe to TouchdownAlabama.com. Be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app on all app stores, including the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play App Store. Be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app as well as subscribe to Touchdown Alabama. As I said, I am Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.